I just could not resist. I had to do it. I've been trying to stay away from all of the reaction videos from ESPN, but it got the better of me. And this is a different kind of reaction video. Welcome into the Broncos Breakdown presented by Prize Picks. Thanks for hanging out with your guy, Moose, on this episode. ESPN is taking another swing at my boy Bo Nix. And now, I don't think this was a direct shot at Bo. This is tape breakdown from one Dan Orlovsky and Chase Daniels, and we will break down exactly what they're talking about and ultimately why I think it's a little misguided. But I did have a little bit of a nudge for this episode. Shout out to my guy Ivan, who came up with this specific question. Moose, can you do a breakdown of Bo against zone coverage? I saw Dan break this down on ESPN Get Up this morning, and it's concerning how Bo's feet and reads significantly decrease against zone coverage. Is this something to be worried about? It looks like there's a ton of data showing that Bo cooks on man coverage, but struggles with zone. Will defenses show him zone coverage all season long? Ask Ivan, and you shall receive. Now, before I break down literally the X's and O's, there is some truth to what ESPN is saying, and then, of course, there is some omission, mostly with the sample size that they use for this specific topic. I'll tell you what that is momentarily. Before I do, though, congratulations to you guys. Congratulations to you guys. We have slaughtered our August 2025 like numbers. 32,600 and counting. So you know what? We have not done it yet. Actually, we've done it one time. 1,000 likes on a video in August. If you could, hit that thumbs up icon. Also, subscribe to the channel if you want more breakdowns just like this one. Speaking of breakdowns, here's Dano talking about Bo and his man coverage versus zone coverage looks. Now, he breaks this down by showing us first Bo Nix facing off against man coverage, as you see here in the screenshot. He then progresses to tell us that Bo Nix's footwork looks fantastic. It's a nice steady drop. It's timing. It's rhythm within his break. He gets to the top of his drop back and then reads, fires with timing and rhythm. All of those things really good. But then he goes on to say that Bo's feet against zone coverage completely flip. And he gets a little bit more jumpy, a little bit more hoppy. That's the word he keeps using. He hops more. Now, I see the play differently. So that was the play that you saw against man coverage. Here's the play that Dan Orlovsky breaks down against zone coverage. I hyper-focused on Bo Nix here. What's the one thing you notice about the green circle here, my friends? Go ahead. I'll let you answer out loud if you want. The pocket collapses. The pocket breaks down. So for Dan sitting here saying, well, look at his feet, look how hoppy he gets, you do realize that he gets flushed out to the right because there is interior pressure coming at him through the A and B gap. And that forces him to move to the right to complete the throw safely. So Dan's observations in this, the first play against man coverage where he's like, oh, look at Bo's footwork. Look at the 5-step drop. Look how he hits his back foot. It's at the top of his drop back and then delivers a perfect strike. It's a clean pocket. There's no pressure. Versus the second play that he's talking about, it's a muddy pocket with interior pressure. So what are we talking about here? Bo is creating more space for himself in the second throw. Now, I will give Dan a little bit of credit for this. Bo throws it a second too late. Just a split second too late. That's all. Just a little tiny fraction of a second too late, which leads to an incompletion to Courtland Sutton on the sidelines, where, by the way, I thought it was a beautiful throw from Bo. But if he throws it half a second earlier, it's probably a full completion. But I want to remind you guys that Bo is not a finished product. So I went back and I took all of the career numbers for Bo Nix inside of a clean pocket. Here are his numbers from a clean pocket over his 2 years. 69.5% completion percentage, 20 touchdown passes to 6 INTs, and a passer rating of 98.9, rounded up to 99. Those are Pro Bowl and All-Pro numbers, right? Or damn well near those numbers. But how about Bo under pressure, Moose? Well, It's a completely different player. 47.2% completion percentage, 8 touchdowns, 6 INTs, 60.8 quarterback rating. It's a different player. Go to the next graphic, JD, before we tell them about our friends over at PrizePicks. So if you're looking at these two numbers, you would clearly see, well, Bo's not nearly as good under pressure. Stop me if you've heard this before. A young quarterback put into a complex offense has to adapt to the speed of an NFL pass rush. Hello? That's all of them. That's all of them. Josh Allen went through this. Josh Allen was dog water for his first 2 years, and then he became unbelievable in year 3 and beyond. Give the guy a little bit of grace. I've got more coming up here in just a second. Before I do, I got to remind you guys, today's episode is brought to you by our wonderful friends over at PrizePicks, playing every single day. And actually, I stepped out of my comfort zone a little today. I decided to play a little WNBA lineup. But right now, if you sign up with code HMA, you play your first $5 lineup, get $150 in bonus lineups if that lineup ends up winning. So, against my better judgment, which I know nothing about the WNBA, by the way, I decided to go with Paige Beckers. I know that she's a megastar here in Dallas, as well as Kelsey Plum. I went more on both. If you want to copy this lineup directly, you can, especially if you're an avid WNBA fan. What you got to do is find me on the new social feeds feature, Moose_NFL18. Look for the brand new blue check mark right by my name. There it is. Check it out, and then, of course, copy my lineup, but most importantly, download the PrizePicks app today. Sign up with code HMA. Play your first $5 lineup and get $150 in bonus lineups if that lineup ends up winning. I've got all that in the comments and description of today's video. PrizePicks. It's good to be right. So where's the truth? Where does the truth lie with what is being brought up about Bo Nix? Because I just showed you the small sample size from Dan Orlovsky from man and zone coverage. And then I showed you what Bo's numbers look like as a career passer when he is in a clean pocket versus when he's under pressure. Okay? So what do we know about Bo? Well, Bo's biggest problem to start 2025 last season was his pocket poise. There is a little bit of truth to the footwork conversation. Because last year, it's something that I brought up almost immediately. He tried to make way too many off-platform throws, and he tried to do that way too frequently. But then Davis Webb gets immediately involved in the day-to-day operations of quarterback for Bo, and he completely calms down, and his play drastically changes after they play the Dallas Cowboys. Now, one Chase Daniel, who is also an ex-NFL quarterback, just like Dan Orlovsky, said something that I actually agree with. He broke down his version of Bo Nix's tape, and I actually think that there's a lot of truth to what he said. Here's the quote. At times, Bo sped up his feet, so he's already at the top of his drop, and no receiver is out of his break. So he started to go through his progressions too quickly, went to the check down too quickly, and I don't think that's him not seeing it. I think it's the footwork that didn't match up with the routes. But I'll tell you this, guys. Bo is still developing as a quarterback. He's not perfect. So while ESPN can come out and say, well, the footwork looks really sketchy here between man and zone, I think it's a really small sample size. And honestly, you picked a horrible example because he had to get flushed out of the pocket. But there is some truth that Bo Nix is not a polished and perfect player yet. He's going into year 3 as an NFL quarterback. We can give him a little bit of grace. And for what he's accomplished in his first 2 seasons as someone who is adapting to the speed of the NFL, we should be unbelievably pleased with the progression we've seen from Bo. So if you had to rank your concern level on Bo's game on a scale of 1 to 10, what would it be? If 10 is like, I'm terrified, 1 being like, I'm just chilling, bruh, I would say I'm probably like a 2. I'm not really concerned at all. I'm actually more concerned about his future health with his ankles than I am about his actual gameplay as an NFL quarterback for the Broncos. So, as we shift over now to another reason why I think this is kind of unfounded it's not hate. I don't think hate is the right word in this case. It's unfounded criticism of Bo Nix. Because what we saw the first 2 years was Bo entering perhaps the most complex offense in the National Football League under Sean Payton. And this is why Davis Webb is so perfect. Let's start with preseason EPA. It doesn't mean a lot because you got Geno Smith that leads this category, and we all know how Geno is. But I think what we're seeing from this chart specifically is that the operation of the quarterback position for Bo, Stidham, Sam is changing under Davis Webb, more so than we saw from Sean Payton, who we broke it down yesterday. There were 13 screen passes called in 3 games in the preseason last year. We've had 2 called this year. It's a different team with a different operation. And Bo's career arc has kind of gone naturally like we expect most young quarterbacks to go. The introduction into the NFL is year 1. Shows a couple of flash moments, shows a little bit of athleticism, the arm strength, the talent, but ultimately, he's not ready to lead a team to a Super Bowl in year 1. And then year 2, we see the comeback kid. His ability to come from behind, lead the team to victory in almost every single game. He had, 8 fourth-quarter comebacks last year? So the clutch factor, the big game moment factor, that's something that we were able to see, and some guys never achieved that. What about year 3? We don't know yet. But I'm willing to bet my entire paycheck that, yes, we're going to see different things from this Bo this year than we did in years 1 and years 2. Jalen Waddle said it himself. Now, I get it. It's his teammate. He's trying to be, supportive, as you should be, right, JD? But Jalen Waddle's not going to lie. He has rare traits that only he can process and that only he can do. It's just tremendous going out there. He's so young, but he's a kind of mature in a way, so he appreciates the game. So yes, Bo is different. He wasn't saying that about Tua. He praised Tua's accuracy. He never praised the other intangibles that Tua had because Bo's just built different. But from an X's and O's perspective, from an on-the-field perspective, Bo has changed dramatically, even in the one offseason that we've seen. A cleaner operation pre-snap, that's because of the communication between him and Davis Webb. The added weaponry of Jalen Waddle for decisive decision-making, cleaner footwork inside the pocket, and developed playmaking ability. Does this look jumpy to you? I mean, this is taken directly from last game, preseason, where it doesn't matter. He has literally got a defender 8 inches away from him with a hand up in his face, and Bo doesn't look, his base looks solid, his footwork looks poised and set, his arm angle is great, he's reading perfectly the defense here. So you tell me if this Bo Nix doesn't look ready to compete. But here's where Davis Webb comes into play. The operation, Sean Payton said, between Webb and Nix is smooth and clean. That doesn't mean it wasn't with him and Bo, but there's a nice little middleman now. In fact, Bo Nix said, I'm talking more to my play caller in the headset and on the sideline. Because Sean, as the head coach, has the entire team to worry about. Bo can go to Davis Webb and just talk about the offense, talk about their job, talk about what they saw on the last drive. So what you're seeing is Webb is adding support for Bo in real time. In the headset, on the sideline, wherever. In practice, Davis Webb is the perfect idea of a manager, right? Think about this. When you get hired by a company and you report directly to your big boss, you might have a little bit of a disparity between communication styles because he communicates one way, you communicate a different way. That's where Davis Webb kind of stands in. He's the manager, someone that can ease that transition for you, just like he can ease the transition for Bo. And you're seeing stats like these come up in real time. He's not just the mediator or the liaison in between Sean Payton and Bo Nix, but he's also an architect in his own right. You're seeing the passing depth increase and the short passing depth decrease. You're seeing Bo's air yards increase. So from 2025 going from 7.3 to 11.6. It might be a small sample size, but it's already in motion. And sometimes at work, you need that middleman between you and your boss to communicate differently. And that's what Davis Webb is. I have my big bosses that I work for here at Chat Sports. I've also got someone who's a little bit more tenured than I am here that I trust when it comes to breaking down something. If I don't understand what my big bosses are saying, I can go to this guy here at Chat Sports who's been here for 7 years and ask him, can you break this? Can you simplify this for me? And he does. And then I get it. That's Davis Webb. It's that nice in between. And that's where we're going to leave it. Like it up. Like it up, like it up, like it up, up, up. 25.1K in 2025 to 32.6. That's a pretty significant jump there, Mr. JD. I'm thinking maybe we can get to 35,000 before the end of August. What do you think? He says, I think we can. 1,000 likes is the goal today. Let's take that next jump. Until next time, Broncos country, a quick little mile-high salute to end the show. Be cool.